happening right now. U.S. President Donald Trump is on a virtual call with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky and several European leaders ahead of his summit with Russian President Vladimir Putin on Friday. Today's meeting is meant to give Zelensky and European leaders an opportunity to voice their opinions about ceasefire talks before Trump meets with Putin. Zelensky has already shared concerns about the Alaska summit from his official Telegram channel. He has doubts about Russia negotiating in good faith to end the war. I want to bring in CTV's U.S. political analyst Eric Ham now with more. Eric, good morning to you. So this call is underway between Trump, Zelensky, and EU leaders. They are concerned, let's be honest, that Putin is going to play or manipulate Donald Trump on Friday. Tell us more about what could happen in this meeting. What should we be watching for?
And they're right to actually feel that way, because already this has been a diplomatic coup for Vladimir Putin in the fact that he gets a meeting with a U.S. leader on American soil. And we also know that he hasn't given up anything. And while President Trump has been talking about land swaps, there's growing concern with both European leaders as well as Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky that Donald Trump is prepared to actually give away too much to Vladimir Putin in exchange for very little. And so we know that this call is taking place right now, but we also know that European leaders and President Zelensky met before Donald Trump and Vice President J.D. Vance were to join the call. And already we're seeing that the expectations of this summit in Alaska have already begun to be lowered by the president, saying that now this is just a feeling out meeting to see what, in fact, Vladimir Putin is prepared to offer in exchange to end this war. But what we continue to see is Vladimir Putin has not given up anything and has not had to. And already Donald Trump has walked back those threats of tariffs on Russian energy if, in fact, there was no ceasefire in place. So clearly what we're seeing here is both of these men have been involved in a face-off, and it continues to be Donald Trump, not Vladimir Putin, who always blinks first.
Okay. And it's tough to know, to follow where President Trump's thinking is on this. He was slamming Putin the other day. I talked to you after that news conference. But at the same time, he's not always speaking favorably of Zelensky, you know, saying that this war never should have happened, almost blaming the Ukrainian president. So do we have, as the White House says, this is just a listening exercise, do we have a real sense of what Trump is looking for out of this meeting on Friday?
No, and we get a sense of how haphazardly this meeting has been put together and how quickly it's been thrown together, because they're still ironing out the details in terms of what are some of the things that are going to be discussed in this meeting. And of course, we know, going back to that 2017 meeting where Donald Trump infamously actually discarded the notes from the meeting, that the one-on-one he had with Vladimir Putin, there's concern that that could also happen in this meeting. And also, we know Steve Wyckoff's meeting with President Putin last week, we got so many different readouts of what happened, because, again, Wyckoff, Trump's emissary to this war, did not have a note-taker, and so everyone was confused. And now we see at the last minute, of course, this meeting is going to take place at a U.S. military installation in Alaska. But again, I think it speaks to just how the president, once again, is moving at the seat of his pants, and that certainly benefits Russia, which is why we're seeing the German chancellor actually call this meeting today.
And then my last question regarding European leaders, Eric, do they have much ability to influence President Trump? Have we seen them try to be persuasive with him before to any real effect?
Well, unfortunately, no. And while some of the nations have actually agreed to increase their GDP of spending on military to meet the NATO guidelines, which Donald Trump has been calling for, it still isn't enough to necessarily move the president away from just this affinity and also this seemingly fear that he has of Vladimir Putin. We know that Donald Trump can be deeply antagonistic towards European and Western leaders, and I suspect we will see some of that in the post post meeting, as well as the lead up to the summit with Vladimir Putin in Alaska on Friday.
Eric Ham for us this morning. Eric, thank you so much. Glad that you could be with us.